Just moments ago, a deeply moving revelation about Patrick Stewart has surfaced, shedding light on a side of the iconic actor few have ever known. From overcoming a turbulent childhood to becoming a global star, Stewart's emotional journey has always been compelling. But this new piece of news uncovers a heart-wrenching chapter that changes everything. What was once hidden in his past is now exposed, leaving fans in shock. Stay tuned to discover the emotional truth behind this extraordinary story. Patrick's childhood challenges. Born in 1940 in the quiet Yorkshire town of Mirfield, Patrick Stewart grew up in humble surroundings. His mother, Gladys, worked long hours as a weaver, while his father, Alfred, held the rank of regimental sergeant major in the British Army during World War II. After the war, Alfred took on various laboring jobs and became a postman, but he carried with him the unseen scars of his wartime experiences. The trauma of Dunkirk had left him with what we now understand as PTSD, creating a home environment often tinged with tension and unease. Young Patrick's childhood was heavily shaped by the weight of his father's experiences. As early as 5, he found himself in the heartbreaking position of stepping between his parents, trying to protect his mother from his father's outbursts. These early experiences left an indelible mark on him, and in later years Stewart would admit that his home life was haunted by shadows he couldn't escape. Yet theater provided a rare sanctuary. On stage he found a world where he could shed his burdens, even if only temporarily, although the weight of his past often held him back from expressing himself fully. This difficult upbringing, however, became the wellspring of the emotional depth he brought to his craft. In 2009, Stewart opened up to Express, sharing, "Such experiences are destructive. As an adult, I've battled to overcome the negative impact of my father's behavior, his harmful example of male irresponsibility." But Stewart's resilience was remarkable. Therapy and his work with Refuge, a domestic violence charity he joined in 2006, helped him confront his past and turn it into a powerful drive to break the cycle. Growing up, Patrick shared his childhood with 2 older brothers, Jeffrey and Trevor, all experiencing the realities of poverty and the intensity of their father's presence. This stern atmosphere would later influence Patrick's approach to acting, shaping the powerful intensity he brought to each role. His journey into acting began at Crowley's junior and infant school, when an English teacher, Cecil Dormand, handed him a copy of Shakespeare and encouraged him to read aloud. That simple act lit a spark in young Patrick, and from that moment he was captivated by the magic of the stage. By 1951, Patrick was attending Mirfield Secondary Modern School, where he met fellow aspiring actor Brian Blessed, sparking a friendship. At just 15, Patrick took a bold leap, leaving school to pursue acting full-time. To support himself, he took on a job as a local newspaper reporter, mainly writing obituaries. But his heart wasn't in journalism. He often found himself skipping work to attend theater rehearsals, crafting elaborate excuses, or convincing co-workers to cover for him. Eventually, he found a more flexible job in a furniture store, where he discovered he could channel his theatrical flair into sales pitches, tailoring each to fit the customer. It was another form of performance, and he made it his own. Boxing also became an outlet for him, a discipline that matched his drive and gave him an edge on stage. With time, Patrick and Brian received grants to attend the prestigious Bristol Old Vic Theatre School. For Patrick, this was a big achievement. He became the first person without an Oxford or Cambridge degree to receive such a grant from the West Riding Council. For a young man from a small Yorkshire town, it wasn't just a step, it was a launch pad to a world far beyond Mirfield. Early career. Sir Patrick Stewart's journey to stardom was one built on grit, passion, and a love for the stage. It all began in 1959 at the Bristol Old Vic Theatre, where he took on a small role in Cyrano de Bergerac. From there, he moved to Manchester's Library Theatre, honing his craft and developing his powerful presence. But his big leap came 7 years later, when he joined the Royal Shakespeare Company, rubbing shoulders with acting legends like Ben Kingsley and Ian Richardson. In 1967, Stewart made his first television appearance as a fire officer on Coronation Street, a British soap opera staple, marking the beginning of what would become a rich and diverse screen career. His talent for intense, layered performances soon caught the eye of viewers and critics alike. By 1969, he had landed the role of Horatio in a televised Hamlet alongside Ian Richardson, a performance that furthered his growing reputation. An unexpected twist of fate came when UCSB professor Homer Swander noticed Stewart's talent, leading him across the Atlantic and onto the Broadway stage in Peter Brook's groundbreaking 1970 production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. This transatlantic debut helped introduce Stewart to American audiences, setting the stage for his future in both countries. By the early 1980s, he had joined the prestigious Royal National Theatre, solidifying his position as a leading figure on the British stage. Throughout the 1970s and early 80s, Stewart's talent flourished on television as well, where he took on challenging roles in British dramas. He brought to life historical figures like Vladimir Lenin in Fall of Eagles and Sejanus in I, Claudius. These parts showcased his skill in portraying complex characters, and he continued to impress in celebrated adaptations like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Smiley's People, and North and South. But Stewart's career wasn't limited to television. He was also appearing in films like Excalibur, Dune, and Lady Jane. Yet it was his portrayal of Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek, The Next Generation, that would make him a household name around the world. Stewart initially hesitated to join the Star Trek revival. Despite his love for the stage, science fiction wasn't really his genre, and he doubted that TV was the place for a serious actor. As he shared with Doctor Who actress Lalla Ward, the idea of committing 6 years to a sci-fi series felt risky. But an encounter with Star Trek producer Robert H. Justman at a UCLA literary reading changed his mind. Stewart took the leap, signing the contract under the assumption that the show would be short-lived and serve as a quick financial boost before he returned to the stage. Even as his close friend Ian McKellen warned him that a television commitment could harm his theatrical ambitions, Stewart took a chance on the opportunity. Hollywood presented an unexpected hurdle, though. When he arrived, he discovered that the Screen Actors Guild had another Patrick Stewart on record, forcing him to adopt Patrick Hughes Stewart as his stage name for a period. For 18 months, he navigated this new identity while carving his path in American entertainment. From stage to Starfleet captain. When Patrick Stewart took on the role of Captain Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek: The Next Generation, he was stepping into the unknown. A respected stage actor in Britain, Stewart was nearly a stranger to American audiences and had little faith that the sci-fi series would succeed. Used to the disciplined world of Shakespearean theater, Stewart found himself thrown into the relentless pace of television, facing early mornings and, in his view, a less serious set. In one now famous moment, he even chided his castmates, declaring, "We're not here to have fun." Adding to his challenges was the endless stream of complex techno-babble that the role required. Stewart, accustomed to the elegance of Shakespeare's language, found himself stumbling over scientific terms that felt alien to him. Yet, as the seasons rolled on, he adapted, even developing a fondness for phrases like space-time continuum. Behind the scenes, Stewart's professionalism was reshaping the set culture. Castmates like Marina Sirtis credited his dedication as a key factor in the show's success. Jonathan Frakes, who played Commander Riker, admired how Stewart set a high standard for everyone, ensuring they came prepared. What began as a job quickly became a family, with Stewart at the helm not just on screen but also as a mentor off-screen. The success of Star Trek: The Next Generation brought Stewart a level of fame and financial stability he'd never experienced. He was amazed when he discovered in 1992 that he made more during a filming break than in 10 weeks performing Shakespeare in London. This freedom allowed him to pursue acting without the shadow of financial worry. Between 1994 and 2002, Stewart reprised his role as Picard in 4 Star Trek feature films, from Star Trek Generations to Star Trek Nemesis, earning accolades along the way, including a Screen Actors Guild nomination. He even made a guest appearance in Star Trek Deep Space Nine and continued to be beloved by fans. By 2011, when asked about the defining moment of his career, Stewart had no doubts. Star Trek: The Next Generation had transformed his life, and he was proud of the show's positive social messages, which he believed educated young viewers. Although he cherished his Shakespearean roles, he admitted that those years in the Royal Shakespeare Company, playing kings and tragic heroes, had been invaluable training for the commanding role of Captain Picard. The impact of Star Trek reached beyond Stewart's career. In 1992, he was even named one of TV's most bodacious men by TV Guide, alongside supermodel Cindy Crawford. Stewart also held deep respect for Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry's inclusive vision for the future. When a reporter once asked why baldness hadn't been cured by the 24th century, Roddenberry replied, "In the 24th century, they wouldn't care." For Stewart, that forward-thinking view resonated deeply. Then, in 2018, CBS delighted fans with a surprising announcement. Patrick Stewart would be returning as Jean-Luc Picard in a new Star Trek series. Stewart expressed his excitement, eager to bring a fresh, unexpected, and pertinent story to life once more. The role that had once been a gamble was now an enduring legacy, and Stewart embraced the chance to captain the Enterprise one last time, breaking free from Picard. Patrick Stewart's journey through the entertainment world wasn't without its hurdles, even as Star Trek: The Next Generation launched him into stardom. Becoming Captain Jean-Luc Picard gave Stewart a legendary status, yet this very role cast a shadow on other opportunities. The gravity of Picard's character made it hard for audiences, and Hollywood itself, to see him as anyone else, creating a challenge to break out from the role that defined him. Additionally, after years on set, Stewart struggled with his return to the stage, where he felt both excitement and a touch of anxiety about reclaiming his roots in theater. Looking back, Stewart reflected that if he had known Star Trek would run for 7 years, he might have thought twice about committing so much of his life to it. Despite the challenges of typecasting, Stewart embraced another major role when he joined the X-Men film franchise. Initially reluctant to dive into another high-profile series, he was ultimately drawn in by the chance to work with director Bryan Singer. It was a decision even his close friend Ian McKellen, who had once urged caution regarding Star Trek, could see the value in. Stewart's portrayal of Professor Charles Xavier brought another iconic character to life, a wise, authoritative figure with much in common with Picard. Over 7 films and numerous video game appearances, Stewart's Xavier became as beloved as Picard, and when he finally stepped away from the character after Logan, fans felt the weight of his departure. But Stewart wasn't quite finished. In 2022, he surprised fans by returning as Professor Xavier in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, blending 2 of pop culture's most powerful franchises in a way few had imagined: the Untold casting story. Captain Jean-Luc Picard stands as one of the most cherished figures in Star Trek, his legacy even earning him his own spin-off series. Patrick Stewart's portrayal of Picard is so iconic that it's hard to imagine anyone else in the role. Yet, in a twist that few fans know, this casting almost didn't happen. At a 2017 Star Trek panel in Las Vegas, Patrick Stewart revealed a surprising piece of franchise history. Star Trek's own creator, Gene Roddenberry, initially rejected Stewart for the role of Captain Picard. Roddenberry, a visionary with a very specific view of his characters, felt Stewart wasn't a natural fit and doubted whether he could embody the character he had in mind. But behind the scenes, a mix of passion and persistence reshaped the future of Star Trek. Stewart was resolute, certain he could bring something unique to the role, and he found champions who believed in his talent. It took some convincing, but eventually, Roddenberry recognized Stewart's potential and the depth he could bring to the character. And so, against the odds, Captain Picard was born, a leader who would forever shape Star Trek's universe and inspire audiences for generations. Patrick's family sacrifices. In Hollywood, it's almost an expectation that celebrity marriages will come and go. Patrick Stewart, the iconic actor, has experienced this reality, navigating love's winding path through 3 marriages. His journey began with his first wife, choreographer Sheila Falconer, whom he married in 1966. For 24 years, they shared a life together, welcoming 2 children, Daniel and Sophia. But as Patrick's career soared, the strain took its toll, and by 1990 their long partnership came to an end. As fate would have it, Patrick's second chance at love emerged on the set of Star Trek: The Next Generation. While working on the series, he crossed paths with producer Wendy Noose. Their professional relationship blossomed into a deep connection, leading to marriage in 2000. Yet, just 3 years later, they parted ways, leaving Patrick once again searching for the right partner. Then, in a turn of events as unexpected as one of his on-screen storylines, Patrick met Sunny Ozell, a young singer, in 2008 while she was waitressing at a New York City restaurant. Despite the age difference, a spark ignited between them. After 5 years together, Patrick and Sunny exchanged vows, beginning what has proven to be his most joyful and lasting partnership. Their connection is something special. In a 2022 interview with People magazine, Patrick reflected on his admiration for her, saying how he had never met anyone like her, that she was incredibly intelligent, with a remarkable memory. Beyond his journey as a husband, Patrick has always been a devoted father, though he's candid about the sacrifices his acting career required. From an early age, he was driven by his passion for the stage, often resulting in long hours and frequent absences from family life. In a 2015 interview with the New York Daily News, he openly shared how, when he got married and had children, he missed large amounts of family time and would only see his kids on Sundays if he was lucky. This, he admitted, was hard on them. In a poetic twist, Patrick's love of acting has seemingly been passed down to his son, Daniel, who also pursued a career in theater. Over the years, the two have collaborated on various projects, and Daniel has grown to understand the unique nature of their family's lifestyle. Recalling his unconventional childhood to USA Today, he humorously noted that his upbringing wasn't typical, as his parents didn't come home at 5 for dinner at 6. James Corden and Patrick Stewart conflict. At the 2010 Glamour Awards, 2 familiar British personalities, Patrick Stewart and James Corden, took the stage together to present an award. It seemed like a perfect pairing, but the atmosphere quickly turned tense. Out of nowhere, Stewart criticized Corden, suggesting that he appeared disinterested and disrespectful, adding a dose of unexpected tension to the evening. Corden was visibly caught off guard but managed a quick apology, attempting to steer the moment back on track and focus on the presentation. However, Stewart pressed on, making awkward remarks about Corden's appearance that landed poorly, only heightening the discomfort in the room. Corden, clearly uncomfortable, tried to regain control, but the moment continued to spiral. Things had grown so uncomfortable that even the award recipient Zoe Saldana felt the need to step in. During her acceptance, she gently reminded the presenters to focus on the occasion, subtly diffusing the tension. Afterward, Stewart admitted to letting the moment get out of hand, explaining that alcohol had affected his behavior. In reflecting on the incident, he acknowledged his respect for Corden and expressed regret over his actions, calling it a memory he couldn't revisit without a hint of embarrassment. Struggles behind the fame. Behind Sir Patrick Stewart's polished image lies a story of resilience. In his 50s, he faced a challenging period as his long-term marriage to Sheila Falconer came to an end. This emotional upheaval led him down a difficult path as he began to rely on alcohol and pills to cope. However, aware that he needed a lifeline, he sought out therapy. This decision became a turning point, helping him climb out of the darkness and start a journey of healing. Reflecting on these struggles in his memoir, Making It So, Stewart speaks openly about the power of therapy. Sharing his experiences, he emphasizes the importance of reaching out for help during life's lowest moments. Through therapy, he regained his footing, learned to navigate his emotions, and eventually left this painful chapter behind. His relationship with his family has also been complex, particularly with his father. Growing up, Stewart experienced the strain and instability that his father's alcoholism brought into their household. Though resentment and fear were frequent companions, Stewart now longs for the chance to connect with his father and share an honest conversation. Through years of therapy, he has come to understand the lasting impact his father had on him, not just in negative ways, but in how these experiences shaped his own resilience and discipline. Even with decades of acting success, Stewart hasn't been immune to the challenges of his craft. In 2022, he recalled how the intense demands of theater once took him to his limits. In 2007, while performing Macbeth on Broadway, he found himself caught in a grueling cycle. Each night, he threw himself into the emotionally and physically taxing role, pushing his body and mind to exhaustion. The relentless nature of the performance led him to rely on alcohol just to numb the overwhelming fatigue. Despite these struggles, he delivered each night, driven by his passion for the role. Looking back, Stewart acknowledges the personal toll that Macbeth took on him, recognizing the lesson it left behind. He learned the importance of prioritizing self-care, understanding that even the most committed professional must find balance to sustain both physical and mental well-being. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment, and turn on post notifications to stay updated with our latest content.